Welcome back, everybody, for Trump Talks Robocop Part 2. I know it's been a while since we were last together, but the guy who writes these things is kind of a lazy bastard, and he's been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate 3, which I'm told is a wonderful game. Personally, I've been low-key FPS sniper maxing. We didn't get a lot of views for Part 1, and I wasn't going to bother with Part 2, but the writer said it bothered his OCD not to finish. So here we are. Last time we were here, a cop called Murphy was murdered by a nerdy guy called Clarence. His partner, Lewis, went crazy with grief and started seeing Murphys everywhere. She even thinks Robocop is Murphy. What a loon. A guy named Dick built an Irish robot that killed another guy. We discovered there was a mysterious connection between Robocop and Murphy. Let's find out what it is. In the police records room, Robocop jams his big spike into a slot and shoots a load of data into the computer. Pictures of sentient garden gnome. Email pop up. Robocop takes a peek at emails. Buddies, a square-headed guy named Leon. Two diverse guys called Joe and Steve. And our nerdy friend Clarence, his hair's rapidly receding, not like mine, which is wavy and coquettish. Robocop discovers Clarence killed Murphy, and he figures if he brings Clarence to justice, then Lewis will shut up about this Murphy guy. Robocop visits Murphy's house expecting to see Murphy's wife and kid, but the place is empty. Obviously, she cashed in the life insurance and ran off with a toy boy. If Murphy was alive, he'd be very upset. Robocop sees some of Murphy's memories somehow. Maybe he's psychic. It makes him angry for some reason, and he punches a TV screen. I hope he arrests himself for criminal damage. Afterwards, he rolls up in the club to have a chat with Leon, who's dumb enough to kick a guy with metal junk in the junk. Back with OCP Bob, and he's having a great time snorting icing sugar with two friendly ladies. The doorbell rings, and it's Clarence the dweeb. Very polite of him to ring the doorbell, but he roughs up Bob and calls the ladies bitches and tells them to leave, so he's an ungracious guest. He shoots Bob in the legs, and Bob cries a little. What a whiner. I have almost total nerve damage in my legs, so I wouldn't have felt a thing. And I wouldn't have been a pussy about it like Bob. Clarence plays a DVD of Dick being smug. I love Dick. What a great guy. Really big fan of Dick. Clarence takes out a grenade and pulls the pin out with his tongue. I think he thinks it looks cool, but it just looks like a slug flopping around. He puts the grenade on the table and leaves. Bob wriggles like a half-paralyzed worm to get the grenade, but it goes off and he blows up. He's deader than the part of my brain that controls bowel movements. The next day, Clarence is in a drug-making factory arguing about the price of drugs with another guy called Saul, who's also losing his hair. He should try clean living like me. It's why I have hair like the mane of a lion. While they're talking, Clarence dips his fingers in Saul's glass of wine and snorts it. Who does that? Saul then drinks the wine. You don't know where his fingers have been, Saul. I hope he doesn't get sick. They argue some more, and everybody pulls a gun on everybody else but Saul, and Clarence seem happy. Just a bit of friendly bants, as the British would say. Just then, Robocop busts down the door and everyone shoots at him, but he's bulletproof, so it doesn't work. Robocop kills everyone. There's drugs, blood, and bodies everywhere. A real shit show. Robocop beats the crap out of Clarence, really gives him the business, and Clarence confesses that he works for Dick, which would have been a surprise if they hadn't already showed us earlier in the movie. Back at the precinct, the cops are talking about striking again. An angry sergeant yells at them to make them shut up and go away. Robocop brings Clarence in, who spits blood on the desk. Very unsanitary. That night, Robocop goes to arrest Dick, but because of his programming, Dick is too hard to take in. Robo starts to shut down, and he tries to escape, but he's attacked by Irish Death Machine, Ed 209. You think Robocop is done? For until Ed comes up against the mortal enemy of all robots, the stairs. Robo gets down to the parking garage, but there's cops waiting for him that start shooting him, except for a couple that get pissy and leave. Lewis shows up and helps him escape. What a great work, wife. During the cleanup, Clarence strolls into Dick's office after Dick gets him off. He tries to flirt with Dick's secretary, but she's not interested because he's such a dorky loser. Dick isn't happy that Robocop knows about him and wants Clarence to kill Robocop, even though he just got his ass kicked. He gives Clarence a tracker that looks like a kid's toy and access to military weapons. Who better to give high-grade weapons to than someone who's always shooting people? At an abandoned factory, Robocop and Lewis are hiding out. Robo takes off his helmet and surprise twist. He's wearing Murphy's face underneath. Some sick bastards at OCP cut off a guy's face and stuck it to a robot. I'm glad Bob is dead. He tells Lewis to leave him alone, very ungrateful after she saved his life. That night, angry leprechaun Emil is trying to watch TV in a store window, but can't because of looters. Why doesn't he just steal one and take it home? Clarence and the rest of his buddies show up, and he's brought really big guns that shoot explodey bullets. They have some fun blowing things up, but Deaky Clarence, the fun ruiner, tells him it's time to leave because he found Robocop at the old steel mill. Oh, spooky. At the steel mill, Lewis is trying to sleep when Robocop starts practicing shooting. Very inconsiderate, Lewis helps him by feeling up his arm. Clarence and the boys show up and Robocop kills poor Joe. They shoot at him but can't hit him. Even though he moves slower than a grandmother with arthritis, they split up and Emil stays in the van. He spots Robocop and tries to run him over but crashes into a vat of toxic waste instead, proving he's been useless this entire movie. He falls out of the van and his skin is all melty, very disgusting to look at. He asks Leon for help, and Leon screams like a frightened child and runs away. Meanwhile, Lewis is chasing Clarence in the shortest car chase ever when Clarence hits Emil with his car. Emil is very dead. I've never seen someone so dead before. I don't think anyone ever has. I mean, he really splattered. Clarence flips his car because his view is blocked by Emil goo. Lewis gets out of her car and is immediately shot because she stands out in the open like a dumbass. She's okay enough to crawl it off, though, and she makes her way towards Clarence's big gun. Robocop shows up to save the day, but Leon drops a crane load of junk on top of him. I guess he's a fan of heavy metal. Leon gets smug about until Lewis blows him up because nobody likes a bragger. Clarence stabs Robocop in the guts with a big spike, or at least where his guts would be. If he wasn't an abomination wearing a dead man's face, Robocop stabs Clarence in the neck with his hand computer spike thingy. Clarence dies and Robo and Lewis look happy, even though they also look like they're about to die. Robocop goes to OCP and outside is Ed 209. Robocop blows Ed up, which is only fair because Ed tried to kill him first. Inside, Robo tries to arrest Dick again, but he's just as impotent as last time. He shows Dick's boss, the old man, a video of Dick admitting he had OCP Bob killed. Why would he say that to a guy he knows is recording him? What a moron. Dick takes the old man hostage, and the old man fires him. So Robocop takes Dick out. Dick goes through the window, and as he's falling, his arms look really weird, like a Muppet. The old man asks Robocop his name, and he says Murphy. That son of a bitch, not enough to steal a dead guy's face, you have to steal his name as well. What's next? You're gonna have sex with his wife too, you bastard. I really like this movie. I like the way Robocop uses violence to solve all his problems. I also like Dick a lot. Should have been a lot more Dick in the movie. I give this movie 5 out of 5 puckered mouth and nooses. If you enjoyed this video, then please consider having yourself arrested for being criminally insane. But before that, please like, share, and subscribe.